You have a family, you're trying to make ends meet, and money seems to be tight. But do you have a budget? Well, this week on Motivation and Confidence, we're going to talk about 3 simple steps to get your family budget in order. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Motivation and Confidence, where we help you do your daily best. And I'm your host, Tom Danger. And this week's subject comes to us from one of our listeners. And I'm going to put your name in the comments because I can't recall. But I thank you so much. And the question that came up was family budget. Now, pretty transparent about going through financial struggle just throughout life, you know. Had to file bankruptcy a few times. Not bankruptcy, my bad. Had to do debt consolidation and cancel quite a few accounts as a young person. Just trash my credit, you know, and you get that card and it has that little $2,000 limit on it. You think it's like free money and you just run it up, and you go out and you buy clothes and you party and you think it's just like free money, but then when that bill is due and you ain't got enough to pay it every month, yeah, I was that guy. I was that silly guy, just being young and dumb. But imagine doing that over, let's say 7 cards, 8 cards, maybe even 10 cards, right? So now you're like 20 grand in debt, and you have all these various debt collectors that are calling your phone. And we used to be slick and have the kid's voice on the phone. It would, this way, when the people would call, you would hopefully think that they got the wrong place, but it never really worked because they would still leave messages repeatedly. But in screwing up that money time and time again, it basically taught us something. And one of the things that I've learned is that you have to have respect for money so that money can respect you. So if you just abuse money and you don't really take it into consideration and you try to live a lifestyle that is beyond your means, your money basically treats you the same way. And then you find yourself chasing the paycheck. Now, I don't know everyone's situation, and everybody's situation is different. This is just me speaking from my experience. Again, being frivolous, being dumb, messing up my credit, trying to live a lifestyle to make it appear that I was doing better than what I was when I was around other people. And if you have that false sense of image, or that you need to do that, stop. Because especially during, you know, the pandemic and everything that's going on, you know, a lot of people have pretty much lost everything and they have to start over, right? So if we're speaking to some of you who are starting from pretty much zero, you want to look at your bare necessities. When we talk about bare necessities, you have to ask yourself, what are the main things that I need to survive? The first thing that we all need is shelter, right? You always need a place to stay. So you want to make sure that whatever monies you're making covers your shelter. The second thing is food. Food and shelter are the first 2 things that your monies need to cover. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't cover both of those, you want to make sure that you cover the shelter first. How can I cover the shelter? Even though we like to eat good meals, and, you know, rumor has it that, you know, you should eat 3 square meals a day and all this other stuff. No. As long as you eat 1 meal a day and it's a nice hefty meal, that's what you have to do to make do until you get yourself situated. Okay? Don't be ashamed or afraid to ask for help. I know we have an international audience, and I thank all of you from around the world that tune in. But there are organizations that can help. I don't know all of them all over the world. I know that I donate to a company that's called, an organization that's called Kiva, I think it's called, in which you can get what's considered as a micro loan. So if you have like a business or something and you need monies to hold you over, you can get US dollars to help you fill that void while you're trying to get your business up and running so that you could provide for your family. So look into your local councils and government officials, if it's not too shady, and find out what services are available to you so that you can get those monies and get those food and get that food. Okay, but the first thing is always shelter. Make sure your shelter is covered. Food and shelter. Okay, clothing. These are just bare necessities. You want to make sure that you have the proper clothing to do whatever job you have to go to, or if you have to go to school. You know, growing up, literally I had 2 pair of pants for school and like 3 shirts, and I would take off 1 pair of pants and lay it on the back of the chair while I air dried, and I put on another shirt, and when I took off that 1 shirt, I hand washed it on my hand, and then I put it on the clothes rack and let it dry, and that's what I had to do to make do while we struggled in making money. So you don't have to have a full wardrobe. You want to have the bare essentials. Not saying that this is going to solve your problem, but these are just bare minimal things that you can do to make sure that you can survive. If you cannot afford clothes, do not be ashamed to ask for donations or check your local thrift shop where you can get clothing at a discount. Okay? Now that you have your food, your clothing, and your shelter, and you have to look at your transportation, because a lot of us live in areas where there's not public transportation, but you have to have some sort of vehicle. And follow me where I'm going with this, right? We're talking about the bare essentials that you need to have to survive. And once you identify what those bare essentials are, you're going to start a spreadsheet or a running tab. And you want to put on this sheet rent, food, clothing, transportation. If you have certain expenses that are related to your transportation, if you have a car, if you have to pay for gas, if you have a car, you may have to get car wash, you may need toiletries, beauty supplies, you've got to do your hair and all that stuff, toothpaste, toothbrushes. You want to outline all of these things onto a spreadsheet. Okay? I use Excel. And what I do is I actually outline it for the entire year. And my spreadsheet is called money management. And whatever the year it is, it's money management for that year. And literally anything that I have to pay is listed on the sheet, as well as whatever income is coming in. Right? So you start the top of the sheet with the amount of money that's coming in. And then just like a checking account, all the checks that you're going to write from that account to the bottom to see what's left over. Right? Now this is the bare basics of doing so. I'm not sure how many of you track your expenses. I found this way to work for me. With the monies that are left over, you can do a couple things. One thing that I like to do is a certain portion of it, invest it. I like to use Acorn. Also use Robinhood. These are simple ways that you can invest. I'm not sure if these are available in the areas in which you're located, but you can check them out online if it's something that you're into. You don't have to be like a investment guru. It's just real simple, especially with Acorn. It takes the spare change from your debit card and what you spend, and it invests it across various stocks, bonds, and other types of funds. And you can basically, as you put your money in, so far this year, I think we're seeing between a 14% and 30% return. And if you're really in the pinch, you need to draw your money. It takes about 1 week for them to sell your stocks off and you can get your money back. But that's something that we do also. Also with your money that's left over, you can look at ways in which you can always sharpen your tool, right? So you want to constantly reinvest into yourself. What skill set do you have? There are a lot of courses online that cost thousands of dollars, but then you can go to like a teachable.com or Udemy, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to share their knowledge for as little as $5 and up to $100, but you can really learn something new. You can learn, I've learned recently that Google has certifications that you can do. I think theirs is also offered through, I can't remember which platform, but it's like a Google certificate platform. You can check it out. $39 a month, but you can basically learn how to code, and without any formal education or background, if you're hired by Google, I think they start you out between $45,000 and $60,000. Okay, I'm going off on a tangent, but if you have monies left over, the recommendation is to reinvest that money into yourself. Okay, if you don't reinvest it into yourself, you want to do small flips. Small flips is looking at things that you enjoy or something that's in demand. You go on eBay and you buy it for cheap, and you go online somewhere else and you just sell it at a higher cost. Real simple. If you're in a neighborhood where you know that they have yard sales, you want to go to yard sales, buy up stuff, and they have like used.com and all kind of apps that you can do it to make short flips. If you're a craft type of person, make something with your hands. If you have a skill set, you can work after hours when you get off your job. But these are things that I recommend to setting up your family budget. And if you want to take it a step further, you want to do little things like not be as frivolous as like maybe buying coffee or cigarettes or alcohol or eating out. All those things may have to go on hold while you're watching your budget. And if you're really, really, really watching your budget, you want to track how much you spend on a daily basis. And once you get an idea of how much you spend on a daily basis, you'll be able to recognize what things you can shave and what things you can keep. Okay, so I hope this helps you. Thank you very much for the question. This is Motivation and Confidence, where we help you do your daily best.